Hey, everybody. Good evening in this or afternoon or morning, depending on where you happen to live in the world, because you could be watching this, well, just about anywhere. We're going to have a super special guest today, one of the great radio personalities in history. I don't know. For some people, I guess. Bob Steele is with us, and he'll be with us right after this.
Check this.
All right. Well, Billy Riley will be joining us a little bit later in this hour. Right now, though, I want to bring on this guy who he and I have just met, but we already feel like I think we're kismet, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Here he is, Bob Steele. Brothers from a different mother. That's right.
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. I could be only doing better if life was better, and it's not, so I can't be doing better.
You know, what are you going to do? You do the best you can.
You do the best you can. You protect yourself. That's one of the things we do. And we were talking about this earlier.
Where's my mask here?
You got yours?
No. That's cute.
I just wear this thing. Yeah, my gator.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Actually, this is from SA, so it's actually got some antimicrobial stuff.
There you go.
I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know if that's true. You know, they just tell you to. So far, I haven't gotten COVID, so I'm good. I'm one of those. I'm actually one of those immune suppressed people that's not supposed to go anywhere out of their house. Yeah. But I've been out and about a little bit, making sure I protect myself. But nonetheless, getting out and doing some stuff. I want to remind everybody over there on Bob's side of the screen. He's got in his upper corner the like and share button. If you're watching today, please like and share us and see. Let us know that you're there, and we'd love to hear from you and see who all give you a shout out. So, Bob Steele, tell me about yourself, man. We already found out you're actually one of the guys with Thunder 107.7 back in the day. I remember
long time ago.
I remember Thunder 107.7. I actually would think I went and applied when I was just a young buck and didn't know really anything. Had no experience.
We should have given you a job.
Well, that's okay. That's all right.
Well, let's see. I started out as a kid of a college professor at the University of Maryland, and grew up selling Cokes at the stadium. And as my father was and mom were hosts for the marching band, and he fired off the cannon, and we got 50-yard line seats right behind the University of Maryland marching band. So it was a great way to grow up. Right. DC Metro was a whole lot different than it is now, but we had a lot of fun as kids. You grow up in a college town. There's a lot of opportunities to, shall we say, do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do in places that wasn't a college town. So we had a good time. Grew up in College Park. Went to Hyattsville Junior High School, Northwestern Senior High School. Went to Prince George's Community College for a little while, and ended up at the University of Florida in an environmental biology degree program.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. That's what's going on right now. I mean, everyone's into all this environmental stuff.
It was one of those things where I got the radio bug about 2.5 weeks into my career in Florida. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Is history. Nice.
Sort of like the guys from KRP, up and down the radio dial.
You do resemble Johnny a little bit there, Bob.
Booger.
That's Booger. No, I used to love KRP. It was a big time thing for me.
The most realistic TV show about radio ever, except there just have not been enough Jennifers in my career.
That's right. Well, I liked Bailey.
But no, it's let's see, what else? I've worked everywhere from New York City to Florida and as far west as Culpeper, Virginia. It's pretty much been up, and I'm currently in the Ocean City Salisbury market with my own company, and this is the 7th time that I've been doing resort radio. I just can't seem to get it out of my system, and I just love the beach and love it here, and great people in the Delmarva Peninsula.
That's awesome. And we'll give a plug to it's Scorpion Radio, right?
Okay, it's a wireless mobile radio group. We actually coined that term. You get it's personality radio. You get it for free on your smartphone, and you can take everything from blues, and I mean old school blues to electric blues. We've got classic rock that's so deep cuts that some of the stuff you go, oh, wait a minute, that was like the 5th cut in on that album, wasn't it? Yep, exactly. If you think back to how you used to listen to vinyl, you'd stack them up on a turntable, throw it down, and it would go and play all from the beginning bumper strike to the end, and then you'd start the next album. So back in the classic rock days, so the classic rock, when we were listening to it, all of that stuff's familiar. Every cut, A, B, C, D, on down, all of them are familiar. Some of them not as good as the A cuts were, of course, but so we play deep cuts. We've got about 20,000 songs in classic rock, the vault. We have a religious station, gospel and Christian. We have an LGBTQ station called Prism. We have a metal station that's so industrial that Ozzy Osbourne looks like Tom Jones. We have usual top 40 CHR station. We've got a heritage station called 100 KHI as a tribute to WKHI down here at the beach from back in the day. We've got a classic country station that goes back to 1944 when country started.
Right.
Billboard Country Chart started, goes all the way through rockabilly, the hayride, the hee-haw era, and stops at Alabama.
At Alabama, okay.
Well, Alabama's like the Beatles' White Album was to rock music. After Alabama, country changed rather drastically from the powder blue suits to the jeans and t-shirt guys.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I have a buddy. Listen,
we did Thunder. We did a kind of a rock and country thing that was new country at the time. Travis Tritt, Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson, and the like, and mixed some good old fashioned Southern rock with it. So you'd hear everything from the Allman Brothers and Skinner to Travis, and it was a great station.
That's awesome.
And we kicked his ass for the for about 2 years there.
That's cool, man. I was going to say, it sounds like you have an AOR station and you have a CHR station. Mm-hmm. Album-oriented rock, folks. I mean, they play everything from all the deep cuts and everything off the albums. And I used to work at an AOR station.
Where'd you work?
Actually, first it was AOR, and then it switched over to CHR, which was the Fox 99 FM in Winchester.
Absolutely. Very familiar with that station. Yep.
The Fox 99 FM.
I worked in Culpeper at one point at WCUL and WCVA. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I remember I cut a bunch of liners and stuff for them that after I'd stopped working there, I drove down and was going to my sister went to JMU. So I was driving by and I could hear those. There I was still on the air saying, the Shenandoah Valley's coolest radio station. And those kind of things.
You need a voiceover job because I've got some statements. I got an image here.
Sure, man. I love it. Love to do it, man. We'll talk after, pal. No doubt about that, Bob.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. That's the kind of station. The station we have is mainly 80s and 90s hit rock. I mean, hip hop, actually, whatever. Just 80s and 90s music. Because I play Heart. We play Heart from there, and we play I play a little bit of Fleetwood Mac, and I also play Rick Astley. I mean, so there's a little bit of Never Gonna Give You Up. And my son's been walking around the house singing that. Apparently, some TikToker played that song in the background of a TikTok thing, and now my son walks around. He's 12 years old. Walks around, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. And I'm like going, what are you singing? Do you have any idea who that is? And he goes, no. I'm like,
but I like it.
Let me educate you, boy. And he's like, no, it's okay, Dad. I just like that song. But it's been a lot of fun putting that together. And when we had that going on, I was the Saturday night overnight guy. Ooh. So I was about 19
for me, right?
Oh yeah, I was 19 years old, and I went in and applied for the job. And after the program director finished the thing, he goes, "You know what, Lee? It's going to be great to have somebody with a little maturity here."
At 19, right?
He didn't know how old I was. I guess I was like, I said, "All right." I get the pipes honest for my dad, and I guess the pipes just made me sound, older.
Either like you smoke 2 packs of cigarettes every hour, or or
good afternoon, everybody. Yeah. So
I had a program director once back when you used to be able to smoke in this is dating me. It was WINX in Rockville, and his name was Bill. I can't remember his last name, but he chain smoked in the studio. And he came out, and his ashtray literally was 4 inches tall, full of cigarette butts. And I said, Bill, you're going to die. And he goes, yeah, but I'll die happy.
So he always used to do all the pirate stuff, right?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. We had one of my favorite things when we had doing that station was the hallway back to all the offices went right by the studio.
Oh.
And there's a window right in front of where the jock stood. So you can imagine.
I'm seeing the possibilities already.
Popped up in front of that window, and the guy, just as soon as he'd kick on the mic, that was our thing. Is if we could make him freaking falter on doing his time checks or whatever he's doing, that was cha-ching. You got the guy, if you could flub the guy. And no one ever got me.
For you. Here's a story for you.
All right. I love stories.
My first radio gig out of college was at what is now 93.5 The Beach. It was WSEA back then, C93, and WJWL, wonderful listing in Georgetown, Delaware. So I was the news guy. And I'm doing news at the WJWL studios. And if you'll remember back then, you had to be able to see the transmitter because you had to take transmitter readings. You had to make sure that the thing wasn't off in Never Land.
Right. And you had to have a license from the FCC.
Oh yeah, you had to have a license. Absolutely.
Oh man.
I read the news. I look up to give a time check. My program director, the morning drive guy, and the afternoon drive guy were mooning me through the glass.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I just, lost it, tossed the script up, went to commercial, and just died there. And it was the only time anybody's been able to really break me up that tried before then or since then. But that was classic. And
you didn't give them the phases of the moon for tonight.
Oh no! At that point, what are you going to do? You
would have been a legend if you'd done that
on the glass.
You'd have been a legend if you'd done that. If you'd been able to keep your cool and say, "Oh, and by the way, the phases of the moon tonight. It looks like we got a full moon.
There's a new moon. There's a full moon, and there's a
full and a half moon.
A half moon. There you go.
Yeah, a half moon.
Oh my! But that would
have been great. Yeah,
it was awesome, and that was a great little radio station. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't have anybody in the station when I was working most of the time. I would come in and I'd be in there for the first part of it, and it was Saturday anyway, so no one else would come in. Mm-hmm. But one night, same to you. One night, one of my other jocks came in to do something with his girlfriend. Oops. And he talked his girlfriend into popping up. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
And I kicked my mic on, and she stood up, and I said, well, it's a very nice evening tonight. In fact, beautiful evening tonight. I don't know if I can express myself any more deliberately. I don't know what I said exactly.
There you go.
I was like, yikes. And
it's amazing the kind of things that happen in a radio studio that people go, "Oh, no, it never happened." You couldn't possibly. Well, yeah, in many cases it did.
I mean, I've told people a million times. I said, if you ever hear "Stairway to Heaven" and "Free Bird" back to back, I can tell you right now exactly what the DJ's up to.
Yep, no question.
Yeah. So,
we had a whole list of songs like that. I was working at a radio station in just south of Richmond in Petersburg, WLEE.
And, hey, I like that.
Actually, yeah, Lee was no, that one was in Richmond. This is SSV and PLZ. I'm sorry,
okay. All right.
And they were on the top of a bank building. And I got to tell you, the engineer,
like thunder.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I seem to be a habit here, but the probably the most user-friendly guy I've ever worked with. He had a set of buttons in the men's room in the stall where you could fire off, and this again dating me a little bit, cart machines to go through a commercial break. You hit the
way.
Boom, and you could sit there and fire off the next 5 or 6 songs if you'd loaded the cart machine.
If you had it all loaded, yeah, sure.
It was great. They had a monitor and a volume control and everything. It's like, man, this is awesome. I love this place.
Yeah. And I've been in studios where you had like 8 machines.
Oh yeah,
you could line up 8 carts, but we only had like I think 6 at FQX, and so yeah, you only had. You had to pick the right song to go in the right slot for the right time.
Yeah.
And so I just my thought was, I watch these commercials. I want to find an ASPCA cart, the one that has all the dogs. That thing lasts for like 10 minutes. I don't even know. I watched. Yeah, so I want one of those to do with.
Do you remember the Saturday Night Live bit where Dan Aykroyd was doing the FM and the AM station at the same time?
No, I would have loved to see that.
If you get a chance, aside from the Greaseman's advertising bit that he did, check this out. It's Dan Aykroyd doing an FM jock and an AM jock at the same time. I had the opportunity to do that, do 2 morning shows simultaneously, one on the AM, which was the music of your life station, and one on the FM, which was a country station. And as if you're a radio guy, you know that the mixer has a program and audition bus. Well, the program bus was the FM, the AM was the audition bus. It was a huge board, and there was cart machines for the AM and reel-to-reels and stuff for the AM, cart machines for the FM, and CD players for the FM on the other side. Mm-hmm. And they had the breaks set up so that you would do a FM break, an AM break, an FM break, an AM break, and an FM break.
Sure.
And for God's sakes, don't get them mixed up.
Uh-oh. and I'm sure I can't imagine not mixing those up occasionally, though.
Well, you're so freaked out for the first 6 or 8 months that you're doing it.
I bet
you have over the microphone on one side, you have the call letters for the AM, and on the other side, the call letters for the FM. And I got to say, I paid more attention to that morning show shift to any other shift I've ever
You had to. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Fun stuff.
I mean, nowadays we have the syndication stuff, which I guess they had to extent back in the day, but now it's just huge. I mean, now they got one guy doing everybody's radio morning shows, and they got, Bobby Bones is amazing how many stations he's on, and as young as he is, it's kind of kooky. Uh-oh, you froze up. You froze up, Bob. If you're there, you can hear me. I can't see you or hear you, so you might want to drop out and then come back in on the link, and you'll be able to drink it. Hold on. Oh, I didn't link him. So yeah, do that, Bob. Do that, Bob. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to bring in our man of the hour. He's yeah, I know Billy. So, Mr. Riley is getting ready to come in with us and join us. So we'll have that on in just a moment. There comes Bob back. Hey, Bob.
It was a communist plot.
I bet it was. I'm
interfering
sure
with not only the election results, but our broadcast.
Yes, it's a matter of fact. I understand how that goes. That's one of the things I have to tell you that you'll probably be jealous of. I don't
What's
know.
that?
Doubt it. One of the things that I've decided with MoreJoy, you were asking me earlier off the air, a little bit about MoreJoy. And most people who watch know what our setup is. We don't know politics for nothing. I don't talk about politics. We don't talk about candidates. We don't talk about. Basically, the reason why is because the number one rule is at MoreJoy. It's the name of the station, MoreJoy.
MoreJoy. There you go.
Everything is positive. Everything is positive.
Love it.
There's no negative.
Excellent.
And so, guess what? You can't have politics because there's nothing positive about politics.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So, absolutely.
Yeah. So, here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Bob, buckle your seatbelt. Oh, Lord have mercy. I can't bring him on, actually, because he's got... look at what he looks like. Look at this idiot.
Oh.
Bob Steele.
What's happening, Billy?
My main man.
Man, I tell you what. Yeah, this guy and I go back to. We're not going to talk about that.
No, of course.
No, hell,
everything's on the table.
We go back to a little nightclub in Fairfax called JP Manhattan's, and it was a great. My God, that was a great time. And I was the DJ. Billy was one of the star bartenders, and Ralph DeAngelis and a couple of other guys put the club together. I think what is it? It's a her hamburger.
Fuddruckers.
It's a Fuddruckers now, yeah, which is kind of appropriate. But we had they went out and
still meat markets.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely a meat market, and it was Ralph recruited the best bartenders from the best nightclubs in Washington and Georgetown. Okay, now understand that we're talking about a bunch of guys equally as crazy as Billy Riley.
No,
maybe even more so, if you can imagine.
Yeah, they all had more experience than me being crazy. They're all older. Kevin Spillane, Joey Kidwell.
All right.
Mary Farling.
Yep. Oh, geez, I'd forgotten about Mary. Yeah.
Good old Mary Miller.
Yep, absolutely. And best
small, tiny Jewish girl in the game.
Oh, yeah. About as small as you could find.
That's right.
But
I had no idea she reached across the bar.
But the neat thing about this was they also had some of the most efficient and best looking waitresses and wait staff
unbelievable
in the entire DC metropolitan area.
This is JP Manhattan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
JP was Jerry Phillips, local lawyer, big time stud, and they put together 2 or 3 other people. I think Kevin Sills had some money.
Kevin was in it, yeah.
Some other people, and it just was magic, Lee. It was just, there's nothing going on in sleepy old Fairfax City. Might have been Cadiz, and that's it. And then the rest of it, Good time there, Bobby Steele. Let me see how my memory is. Every night ended with a certain Van Halen song.
Yes, it did.
Panama.
Or if Ralph came out and said, Bobby Steele, play Panama. And so everything, I could have been in the middle of the hottest dance set in the world, and Panama went on immediately.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, my God, dude. And, we're trying to wind down. It's 1:30. We're closing out. We're still, asses to elbows in the joint. Then they play Panama and try to calm everybody down. Yeah, that's going to work, you freaking idiot.
Oh, man.
But that's why he did it. For the measurement.
Now, the fun thing, and this is something that even the patrons didn't know, is Ralph would about once a week would pull the entire bar staff, the wait staff, and me out of the club into the kitchen for Zambuca shots. And they'd be buka shots lined up on one of the serving trays.
Shocker.
And nobody could go back to work until they'd done at least one. And some of us did more than that. It
turned into 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah, really. And
guess what? Hey, Bob Steele.
Yeah.
Still my go-to.
Is it really?
Apparently.
Love it. My body doesn't love the sugars anymore, but oh my God, I love me some Zambuca.
Dude,
Love
I've
that movie.
hated. You know what? People say that to me all the time. And I just hate licorice, man. I just can't stand the taste of it.
Love it.
And I'm
Love
like,
it.
yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Let me tell you something. When the guy that's paying your salary and
Says
writing
take a
your
sambuca
check
shot.
says, "Hey, Bobby Steele,
Correct.
have a buka shot." Damn it, we're doing
Hey,
buka.
hold on. It was
I
like
hear
this.
you.
Hey, Bobby Steele,
Yes, yes,
you're doing the shot. And I mean now.
yes, yeah.
So how did I apologize? I've been tied up in a meeting. I'm on fire right now, setting up
Excellent.
restaurants and bars for outside opening. You're making sure they got heaters and tents. And I mean, we're buried. And I'm loving it. And it's a good run, pivoting out of an old business. And how did the first half hour go? I mean,
We
Lee,
talked
I told
about
you, legend.
talked about old radio stuff and Thunder, and I mentioned the fact that I think it was you and Kevin that showed up a couple of times in dusters to some of our concerts, which was pretty cool. You know,
Dude, you're a legend,
Oh God,
bro.
I have
You're
a duster.
legend. You were good to everybody. You stayed relevant in what you're doing. I love. Have we talked about the race car shit yet?
not yet.
Not yet. We haven't got
I'm
into
gonna
race car
Hey,
stuff.
listen. I'm gonna be quiet because Bob Steele is, for me, he's on the Dave Adler, the Smash, the Grease Man. He's on that level for me because I was 20 years old when I met him. I turned 21 at Manhattan's. And for me, the guy walked on water because it was just legendary. He had that freaking Owens black hair from Alabama. He always had that fucking thick mustache gig going on.
It's gotten a little grayer here,
Dude,
but
I haven't lost it yet. I still got the same deal, but his is a little more Sam Elliott. And that's why he got all the tail. I mean, I had the mini stash going. So there we go. Thank you, Mike Hurst.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of fun, and then of course we went over to Rockville and did it all over again.
Right.
And I had
and
a couple
killed it
one
up
of my
there
guys.
with Duran Hughes and all those people. Good times, legendary times from a childhood gone wrong. And I blame you. You're on that list of I blame your ass. Don't worry.
I will take full credit for that. I was telling somebody the other day, and it was funny because I said, I used to bounce at the Varsity Grill in College Park, and I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I said, but at Manhattan's, we had guys that could have been playing for the Washington Redskins for bouncers.
Hammers.
Yeah.
And one time I recall that one guy, they tossed him out of the club once, tossed him out of the club twice, and the third time they tossed him out the window.
Yeah, the bay window.
The bay window.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Ralph
this
was
is
so
all the
pissed
same
off.
night?
Ralph was so pissed off because he's like, I don't care if you kick him through the door window. I don't care if you kick him through the side windows. He went through the $900 bay window. And he went head first.
He did.
Wow. We had
Ladies
some good times
and gentlemen,
there. So
the plywood will be here shortly.
I'm going to turn this back over to Lee, and I'm going to sit back and listen because I hold you to such a high regard, Bob, and I follow your new exploits and the new things you got coming on and your longevity. I mean, I watch all these guys like whose salary nameless, like Al BD that's doing the weather, and some of these other mutts that aren't you. None of them are you. And you, like I said, you, Grease, Adler, Smash, Lee Bailey, those are my guys. And the voices are there, the memories are there, and I want Lee to ask a bunch of questions. Best producer I've ever seen. So let's do it.
Billy, I want to first off thank you so very much, and thanks for being a part of that because without you and the other guys and the gals that were there, we just wouldn't have had that kind of fun. And it was so truly a team effort. And just like any radio station, Lee, you know this. If you're only as good as the weakest link. And the cool thing about Manhattan's, both in Rockville and in Fairfax, was there were no weak links. Everybody was super strong. It was just right place, right time, right. Everything was right.
Well,
and it doesn't happen often.
And that's what makes JP Manhattan's, an icon itself, and a historic place because. It's a place that everybody wanted. If you were going to be taking your gal out for a quality, high level, high end date, you went to JP Manhattan's.
I did.
I mean,
And
there's no
everyone
doubt.
was there. The Reds,
Everybody.
$5,000 a table.
Yeah.
Every bad guy was in town, was there.
Mm.
Everybody that shouldn't have been there was there.
Was there.
And this 21-year-old kid was there, like getting the education of his life. I go from there to Champions of Georgetown, to Rumors, to the Haypenny Lion for 12 years. And everywhere I go, they're like, you know that guy Bob Steele? I know Bob Steele. I know Bob Steele my whole life.
Seems like that, doesn't it? Wow.
Let me ask.
I
Go
come
ahead.
across your name. I'm like at the 94, 04. I'm at the last race at the Homestead. I'm with Jeff Bishop from Rumors in the pits.
Yep.
And we're down there doing something. I'm making faces at the race guys. I'm like behind the owners. Like they're looking at the cameras. I'm right there. I'm like the best time of my life. And I'm talking to these couple of pit guys. They're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're in Virginia. Oh, yeah. You know this guy Bob Steele is racing cars up there. I'm like, what? Shut up. Legendaries everywhere.
Wow, I really appreciate that, Billy, and I'll have to give you that $100 I promised to mention all those things.
I got the memo. Homie. All right, hey, Lee, you're on. Let me hear.
No, I wanted to a couple of things before we start talking about the racing thing, Bob. I wanted to just from your experience, obviously you know Doug Track, who's the grease man. I got to tell you a funny story about the grease. I used to be a big grease listener. Loved listening to grease. Got it.
Who wasn't that?
Oh, I know. And I was like 17. I'm at the dentist's office. Dentist is working on my teeth. The lady who's his little assistant, little cute toot, sitting on the other side of me.
Yeah.
And my dentist is talking to her, and he's using all the grease man vernacular. And he's talking to her about her husband. They'd just gotten married. So he goes, so it's been like 2 months since you've been married. You've been hobbled a yarn a lot like that. And I'm sitting there. He starts going, what about gobbledygook? And she's blushing, even though she didn't think I had a clue what they're talking about. He's got all these he's doing this and that, and that kind of stuff. At the end, he pulls out the wedge, whatever, in my mouth, and I go, oh, I almost said his name. I don't want to say his name. I said, hey, you listen to the Grease Man, huh? He looked at me and went, like, oh, God. He knows everything I was talking. And then he looks at her, and she's like this, like, what? And
no, not just talking like the Grease Man does.
He knows the language.
He said to her, he goes, well, I guess this young man just understands everything I just talked to you about. She, oh my God, crimson red, like.
So Doug Track lives in Annapolis.
Dougie does, yeah.
He drinks at a buddy of mine's bar named Tommy Lester, and Tommy Lester is just one of the best around. And Tommy puts him on the phone sometimes, and I'll talk to him. He'll go, Ramrod, and then he goes right into the Greek stuff, and he goes, Testosticles. I'm like, it makes me cry still. I mean, the guy has so much
probably
talent.
One of the most talented guys in radio. And certainly one of the top 10 all-time greats.
All time,
Bob. I
was
working at. I was about 18 years old. I was covering a summer shift for a pregnant cashier at the Texaco at Loman's Plaza.
Okay.
And and so I was sitting in there working one day, and I'm a big Grease fan, listen to Grease all the time, and I see the first ever Falls Church Police Volvo pull up to the light, turn down Graham Road. Okay. And I went, whoo! And I called DC 101 right away. And they were playing Best of Grease. In those days, they didn't tell you they were playing Best of Grease. Yeah. They just played them. Mm-hmm. So young Dave YDB answered the phone. And I said, is Grease there? And he's like, no, he's on vacation, buddy. What's up? And I told him. He said, you're kidding. I said, no. He goes, oh, my God. He's back in Monday. You got to call and tell him Monday for sure. He said, "That's crazy. You're kidding." And he kept saying, "You're kidding. They have Volvos." Because, the lawmen, the Volvos, all that stuff. It was Volvo. And, it was just, so I did. I called on Monday and somehow got through. Because, a lot of people called him. And I don't know how I got through to him, but I got through. And I said, "Hey, Grease," I said, I called in and talked to YDB. Did he tell you that the Falls Church Police are driving Volvos? He goes, I did hear that. He said, "Are you? What kind of lights they have on top of the car? The roof's too narrow for bar lights." He's like asking me all these questions about these lights, about the Volvos. I said, "Oh, I told him whatever." I said, "Grease, listen, I was just wondering what it must be like to pin on a badge, strap on a gun, and climb into a Volvo." And he goes, "Oh, I love it." He goes, "Hold on one second. I'm going to come back to you as if I'm just answering the phone for the first time, and we're going to go through this again." I said, "Okay." So he did. Maggot line. And so I told him thingy. He said, and then he goes, "Okay, buddy, thank you very much." Hung up the phone. They're in the middle of a ad break, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of an ad break. And I just finished talking to him. I turned the radio back up, and it's an ad break going on. Like 2 more ads. Bum, bum, bum. And he goes, "Okay, everybody, how y'all doing? What's going on this morning? Hey, this is a Grease."
They got him down pretty well, actually.
Yeah. Well, I've been working on Grease for a long time. So, but I have a friend that I call and do it, and he just laughs his ass off. But anyway, so he says, "Let's talk to some of the public or the gentry or something like Maggot line," and he talks to a couple people, right? Different people about something, whatever. And then he says, "All right, let's go to Fairfax, Virginia. It's unsavory there." Yeah. He says, "Go ahead, Lee. What's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, Grease, what's up, buddy?" And then I'm listening to myself in the recording, and he's all of a sudden, here comes the SWAT music. He has a whole thing about getting into Volvos. He said, you show up at the studio. You show up at the studio. At the station house for your first thing. And said, the sergeant comes down and goes, "Boys, we got new cruisers." And you're like, "New cruisers? What do we got?" And he starts naming off all these police cars, these old, Plymouth Fury, we got this or that, and he's naming off all these 5-barrel, with a 5-barrel 3-carb or whatever, that stuff he's doing. And he says, the guy goes, "No, we have Volvos." He goes, "Volvo? Yeah. How can we demand the respect of the citizenry driving a Volvo?" And starting to go, "Just shut up, Grease. Get in the damn Grease Manelli and get in your cruiser and get out on the road."
Dude, he hasn't changed a bit. He's still fucked up. His head's
unbelievable. He's unbelievable. So I'm driving down the road in my new squad car. Yeah. He said, and up next to me pulls a Chevy Chevelle and he starts naming, all the crap about a Chevy Chevelle. And it's blida, blada, blida, blada, blida, blada, blida, blada. He looks over at me and they say there's a whole bunch of teenagers in the car. And he looks over and says, "Hey, lawman, you want to drag?" And the light turns green and they take off. They all the sound effects and everything. I just pulled away from the light ruefully. Later on that evening, I was driving by a 7-Eleven and there was that Chevelle. I pulled in, got out of the cruiser. The guys are all standing there laughing at me. "Hey, Grease. Hey, lawman." He goes, "Couldn't keep up, huh? Nice Volvo you got there." I reached in underneath my seat and pulled out my Uzi. I got up and I said, "Yeah, we lawmen in Falls Church, we like our imports." And we shoot them all, And then he says at the end, he goes, "Of course, I got to make the lawman in Falls Church look good, because what if I'm driving through Falls Church and get pulled over by a Volvo?" Anyway, he's just, he's just,
just absolutely the most talented guy. And, he did that presentation for the National Association of Broadcasters Convention about how commercials are actually done, and the sales guys, and you can see that on YouTube. You can look up Grease Man commercial and you'll see something absolutely hysterical. And anybody that's been in radio, if you haven't seen this, or even if you just like the Grease, or even if you want to know what radio's really like, radio sales, you'll check that out. But I used to work at 94.7 The Arrow, which is what happened after Grease left, and with Surf and Weasel and all those guys.
Yeah.
Even after Kessler, Mark Kessler, Billy, you know him. Even after Kessler was on in the morning, you'd still get calls for Grease, and it was just a great place to work and a lot of fun. And he left quite a legacy there, and it's a real shame. I'd like to hire him for Classic Rock the Vault. I'd like to hire Surf for Classic Rock the Vault. Tell me that wouldn't be cool.
That would be
both
cool.
available.
You know what?
They're available too, and I know what their number is. I know what I know what both of their numbers are. So,
my other guys,
we need to sell a few more commercials.
Living on a good semi-retirement for the book and the beautiful wife in real estate. But he's doing a nice thing in Loudon right now. He's got a good track.
Well, Music Planet Radio is associated with a Scorpion Radio Group.
Right.
It's one of our associate stations.
Nice.
Well,
and
Track will take the job tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'd have him working tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
that would be
awesome.
awesome.
I can't imagine what the fucking retainer clause would even look like. Hey, it's 2 pages of you can do this and 19 pages of hey.
No, the cool thing about wireless mobile radio is
you're wide open.
Whatever you want.
No rules. There's no transmitter. There's no FCC.
It's so fun because
you can hobble all you want.
I did country music for a long time, marketing and deep in it, and worked for Chesney for a while. I did country for a while, and those guys love those shows. So you watch these guys that are, they're talking about family values, and then you get my guy Jake Owen. He's like, anywhere with me as long as you're on my face. It's hysterical. I'm like, dude, I never saw that side of you.
Danny Shirley from Confederate Railroad says, "Don't do shots with Bob Steele."
They love that shit.
Yeah, they do.
You hear that?
Even George Strait says, "You know what? I rode Amarillo by morning because I didn't have a fucking thing in my pocket. I was up in the morning trying to figure my shit out." I was like, I've known George Strait for 25 years. I don't think I even heard a damn out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
George Strait just shit.
Yeah, I know. That's the same time first time I ever heard my dad curse. I was like, what? What was that?
George Strait is the GOAT. He's got 80 number one.
Of course.
Listen, nobody's even close. I think 26 is next closest. Maybe Conway Twitty might have had a few. But I'm going to tell you what, this guy, and he was like, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Love to do it. Man. Can I take care of you? And here he is going, man, I wrote that shit because I don't have a fucking thing in my pocket. I was like,
well, there's a public image and a private image to all of us. So, you've got the on-air persona, and you've got Billy, you got the presentation persona, the bartender persona going. And, is that what you're like at home? Sometimes.
No.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Billy's the same all the time.
Around the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much around the clock. Billy is Billy.
You're done. But
Billy is Billy, except for he's around his new girl.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Dude, even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
That's what they say. That's what they say. I'm still looking for that nut.
Dude.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on.
Hey, Bob, wait till you see this.
Say Fairfax story about a toothbrush, Bob. Uh-oh.
There's a Fairfax lawyer story of a guy named Toothbrush, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Bob asked the lawyer what he thought about the case the next day. The lawyer said, better bring a toothbrush to court with you. Sure enough, Bob showed up to court with a toothbrush in his front tooth pocket.
Very true. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that one for remembering that. Yeah, you're right. I did. There's one in Prince George's County at one point that was
a nightclub king.
Yeah, there was one in Prince George's County where I went in with the attorney, and he says, "You wait out here," and I waited out here, and he said he came out about a half hour later. He said, "Get out of here fast, get in your car, and go hide for about 2 weeks. I'll take care of this." And I said, "What did I do?" He says, "I don't know, but I'm going to find out, and you need to get out of here now." So yeah, we all have to. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Mike, thanks. I appreciate that. was an episode at one point with I used to live. I worked in Fairfax and lived in Annapolis, so that drive is rough. You come down, you hop on 66, you go down through Spout Run and hit George Washington, go through DC, come across, hit 50, and go to Annapolis.
Right.
Well, one night
that would be New York Avenue to you.
Yes, it would be, and across the 14th Street Bridge and a bunch. Yeah. And so anyway, I get to Annapolis. I am literally 2 blocks away from my apartment, and I'm so tired. There's a cop right across the street from me on the other side of the light. For some reason, I just put it in gear and drove right through the. Now I'd been stopped for almost 2 minutes. Put it in gear, drove right through the red light. So the cop obviously pulls me over and he goes, "What's going on? Are you nuts? What, are you crazy? You knew I was there." And I said, "Well, officer, I'm very tired. I've worked, over at JP Manhattan's in Fairfax." "Oh, I've been there." And I said, "And I live right up here off Silipana Road." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I know where it is." He goes, and I said, I'm just trying to get home." And he goes, "Have you been drinking?" And I looked at him and I said, "Yep." And he goes, "Much?" And I went, "Nope." And he laughed and he said, "Can you drive the rest of the way?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, follow me." So he took me right to the front of my house. And, anytime now you'd have been locked up and the key thrown away.
Right.
Took me to the house and said, "You have a nice day. And next time, call a cab." And I really wasn't. I mean, I'm sure I was a lot worse off, but it was largely because I was so damn tired. Ran right through that red light.
I've done that before. You stopped. You stopped, and you thought, "Okay, now it's time to go."
I guess. I don't know. I knew it was still red, and I just put it in gear and let the clutch out, and away I went. And of course,
yeah. The only problem with that is that there's a cop right across the street, and that's kind of dumb.
Yeah,
it's like, and I have
I'm not saying it was smart.
No,
I know. A lot of things I did back then that was smart.
No, I got a good buddy who's a cop, and he said, and he hates writing tickets. Now he's like almost a captain because he's been in the county for a long time. But back in the day, he was telling me, he said, "You know what, Lee? It was 3 a.m. I'm driving down 236, and I'm in a marked cruiser, and this guy passes me." I'm like, "Crikey!"
Like 35 or 45 miles an hour there or something.
Yeah, and the guy was doing like 55, and he just passed him, and he's like, I was like, "Man, now I got to pull this idiot over because he's a stupid dum-dum," And anyway, he was very pissed off. That guy made him put him in a position to pull him over.
Yeah, and then if he's drunk or something, you got to write.
Yeah. He didn't go into what happened or anything like that of it, but you're absolutely right. But a lot of the guys on Friday nights, they go immediately out looking for problems so they can get back to the jail and don't have to answer calls.
Well, the joke is the decoy drunk. Remember that joke, the old joke about the decoy drunk? Yeah, and so I'm sure that happens more often than not.
Yeah.
So speaking of cars and cool stuff,
tell me about your racing.
Yeah, well, Billy, I started back in the early 70s working with a friend of mine in Hyattsville by the name of Tim Mountjoy. He worked on British cars, Mountjoy's Auto Shop, right down by the Peace Cross. And he had he's largely MGs, Triumphs, Jaguars, stuff like that. Yeah. And he decided, we had a junker MG around. He said, "Look, guys, we don't do anything on Saturday here at the shop. You guys want to go autocrossing up at the University of Maryland parking lot?" Well, hell yeah, man. That's awesome. He buys the beer. We go and work on the car, and he drives the car. Well, we started working around the car, and it turned out that it was not a particularly great car. So we dumped that, built another one, and we started racing it we took a driver's school at Lime Rock, a driver's school at Watkins Glen, and started racing a lot at Summit Point. Well, Tim was a brilliant driver, a brilliant mechanic, a brilliant engineer, and he was just a great guy. Well, he passed away of colon cancer after a number of years, and I had the opportunity to buy that car that I helped build. So we, at the time, I got called in to do a job in Nassau in the Bahamas, working with an international broadcasting company down there by the name of More 94. So we were down there for 2 years. We had the race car in Florida. And we flew back and forth from Nassau to Fort Lauderdale to work on the race car on weekends. Finally, after a year, we had it ready to go, and it debuted at Homestead. Then we raced it at Sebring, and then the gig in the Bahamas was over. We brought it back up to Summit Point. And we ran that car for about 5 years. We were runner-up at the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series championships in the Sports Car Club of America 4 or 5 times. And a kid that was working with me goes, "This is such a piece of crap. You need to race a Honda." Well, at the time, the motors, when I understand it's a 95 horsepower 4-cylinder motor that we're getting 200 plus horsepower out of and spending about 13 grand on each one. And you needed 3 motors, one in the car, one in the trailer, and one in the shop to be competitive. So I went, okay. So a guy that we knew who lives over in Summit Point said, "Hey, look, I've got a Honda CRX that if you want to rebuild it, you can drive it." Okay. That can't turn down a deal like that. So we sold the MG, started racing Hondas. We ended up with 3 Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series championships back to back.
Wow.
And have been racing pretty competitively ever since then. We're in the process of building a new car, which is actually, there are guys that joke that I said I could start out with a brand new car, and by the time I got finished with it, it'd be a historic. But we've been working on this one for about 5 years. It's a 91 CRX that we're going to be racing in GT Light this year with, can I mention the sponsors? I mean, we got
of course.
Goodyear is on board, Louis Meineke Car Care Center in Lewis, Delaware, Dave Repass and his family. We've got RaceQuip, Penske Shocks, and Arriva driving apparel so far, and we're looking for some more. But
Awesome.
that debut should be in March, and we look forward to that car being nationally competitive out of the box.
Make sure we get some passes. I'm going to come up for that.
Yeah,
I'll put you on the list. We do the race call at Summit Point for the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series.
I know
you guys
where it
can
is.
come up in the tower and hang out with us.
I graduated high school in Carlisle, so
Oh yeah, well,
I know right where you're at.
Yep, absolutely.
That
So
sounds like fun.
in doing the race call up there, we have kind of a fun time, sort of like we did at Manhattan, sort of like we do on the air. And I've got a couple of broadcasting buddies that work for me that we've all ended up in the tower. And one of the honchos from the Sports Car Club of America was there and said, "Look, where'd you get these guys? We want somebody like that for our what they call the Hoosier Racing Power SCCA Super Tour, which is an 11 race all over the country series that culminates in the runoffs. And this year it's going to be at Indianapolis." And the guy says, "Well, you want somebody like them?" He goes, "Oh, absolutely." He says, "Well, why don't you ask them?" So that's 4 years ago. We got the contract signed on Christmas Eve, and we were at Sebring doing our first race the second weekend in January.
Wow.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
And we just got the contract to do the 2021 season, assuming that COVID isn't too bad. We managed to get 9 races in this year, but we start out at Sebring, then we go to Buttonwillow in California, and then to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, and then we bounce around all over the country up through the end of July.
Well, Lee, let's make sure we're staying in touch and link into
Absolutely.
whatever we can do, and make sure we're checking in with them. We're just taking off here, Bob, and the ownership's doing a good job, and the live video formatting is going good, and we got a few shows that are really starting to take off. This Love Hacks thing on Wednesdays, and this Monday night show with guys like you. Maybe we're going to start with the shares and the likes are really starting to move for us, and couldn't be more thankful than to have you on.
Well, I couldn't be more happy to be here. And anytime you need somebody for comic relief, just let me know. But you guys, let's do some business. Maybe we can get you guys on Performance Motorsports Network, and maybe we can have some more fun with you.
Well, you talked to the right guy. Lee Bailey's the guy.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd love to do it, Bob. So hang tight, Bob. We're going to go ahead and close the show up, and we'll chat a little bit after. But I have to do a sleep study tonight, so I have to go.
Well,
yeah.
Rest easy with all those wires.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, Bob Steele, everybody.
How about Bob Steele?
The incredible man, Billy Riley.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Bobby, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, look forward to it, Billy.
Count on it.
All right, man. See ya, Billy. Riley.
Hello there, my fellow Novanians. Yes, if you're from Northern Virginia, we want you to know that there is now a radio station just for you with all the events, all the information going on in Northern Virginia. We have a radio station that is dedicated to Novanians and all of Nova. It's MoreJoy Radio. MoreJoy Radio. It's your answer to the best music, the most positive, most fun, and most good music, most good, on the air. MoreJoy Radio. We're on the internet. All you have to do is go to morejoyradio.com and you can listen. You can listen to MoreJoy Radio anytime you want. Would you run out of flowers?